Yeah. And everything they could rip from you in a divorce, it's really everything. Like it's the most fundamental things. Like when you get to see your children, it's your finances in a real tangible way. Like people get broken financially in a divorce. Not just even the process of divorce is incredibly expensive, but just cutting everything in half. I'm like, yeah, and then he took a chainsaw and he cut the bed in half and he said, you can have this half. And that's the story they want to hear. Those are the people that talk about their divorce for the next 15, 20 years. Someone actually took a chainsaw, cut the bed in half, yeah.
Wow. In a weird way, I guess I take a weird sort of comfort in the idea that at least a large number of divorces, there's not a clear bad guy, because then it feels like, well, as you pointed out, even if one person in this whole storm had tried to do the right thing, it may have saved the whole thing. But I guess when I get people become nervous, and I think one of the reasons they don't want to get married in the first place is they worry that they'll be put in a situation where it could all go to hell, totally outside of their control, and they might end up married to some sort of like sociopath without knowing it. And then you can have someone just rip everything away from you no matter if you do everything perfectly.
Yeah. And everything they could rip from you in a divorce, it's really everything. Like it's the most fundamental things. Like when you get to see your children, it's your finances in a real tangible way. Like people get broken financially in a divorce. Not just even the process of divorce is incredibly expensive, but just cutting everything in half and creating support obligations based on earning capacity. There's so many ways this can go wrong. So marrying someone is such an unbelievable act of faith and trust in the present you, but also the future you.
This is really good. Yes, I say this a lot. Falling in love is all about risk. That you have to come to the realization and ask yourself, am I willing to take this risk for what lies ahead? It's an act of faith, because the truth is that even the person you want to get married to today, you have no guarantee that they will remain the same person tomorrow. Because the truth about human beings is that because of our nature, we get to evolve. Human beings evolve over time. People change. People's minds are renewed. People learn different things. Perspective shifts. And you don't even know if this person that you're dating today, this person you're getting married to today, will be the same person in 40 years' time. But it's something you do with faith. But at the same time, it's not just faith. It's about facts, principles, guardrails, and what this thing does for you is that it allows you to make the best decision that you can right now, hoping for the best later. And when I say facts and principles, I'm talking about what are their values? What do they value at this point right now? What shapes their worldview, or what's shaping their worldview? What's defining who they are right now? Because you have to look at this information to understand where people are in their journey of life. You have to understand, you talk to people and you discover these things through conversation. So you have to talk to people to realize, okay, based on how they're talking, based on what they're saying, based on their mindset, based on how they see life, this is what it will look like maybe in the next 5, 10, 15 years. Because the truth is that our future is defined by what we're doing today. And also, it's so important that you're getting involved with somebody who is also flexible. It's a little bit here and there. But then when you have this defined information, this principle, these values that help people define who they are or where they are going to in life, it helps you know that, is this somebody that I can actually work with? Is this somebody that if they change in the next 40 years, because they would, because you yourself, you will change too. If they change, would the change be that bad? Or would it be a change that wouldn't be too drastic that I can still deal with? And this is something that you have to keep talking about with whoever you decide to go with. That's why conversation is so important in marriage, because conversation and learning together help two people to actually grow together. It's the problem most people have in their marriage is that they start growing apart. When you start growing apart from your spouse, from each other, you end up in different paths in life. So you want to find somebody who is willing, or who is eager, or who genuinely wants to walk the path that you're walking and hope for the best. That's the faith part of it there. I hope you understand.
Like, if you get married in your 20s, will 40-something-year-old you still be the same person, or at least grow in similar ways? Like, will you grow in the same direction? Because people have, women and men have midlife crisis and have, just fundamentally shift and change in sometimes really profound ways. And now your destiny is inextricably tied to this person's destiny. And more so, your children, who you love more than yourself most of the time, are tied to this person's destiny too. And this person now knows you better than anyone in the whole world. They know your weak spots. They know what gets to you. I mean, there's nothing more frightening than someone who you've trusted with everything coming at you in the other direction.
I want to say this because I know it's very scary. The truth is that what makes you so in love, or what makes you connect deeply in marriage, is the same thing that can break you in marriage. And I'm talking about vulnerability, because I believe that vulnerability is the key to deep intimacy in marriage. When you're able to see the strength, the weakness, the failure, the wins, and everything of your spouse, and there is nothing else, and you still say, this is the man, or this is the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. This is the person I love so much. When you get to that point in your marriage, that's when you have gotten to the sweetest spot of marriage. But at the same time, that is the most riskiest point of marriage, because now you have given another human being the weapon to destroy you. That's why it's so interesting, because what can make your marriage so sweet is the same thing that can destroy it in the blink of an eye if it's being used wrongly. So I get it. It's not easy. It's just so much of a risk. But then you have to ask yourself, the person I'm choosing to go on this journey with, am I willing to risk it all? Am I willing to lay down my life for this person or for this thing? And if you are, then go for it. But if you're not sure, please don't go in. Don't start something you cannot finish.
How often do you think it is that you have a situation where either the man or the woman is just a total villain, a total sociopath, and the others, the people, the other party involved really couldn't have done anything to prevent it all from going south? Like, do you think happens often?
Those are two distinct questions. So one, I would say, is thankfully it's infrequent that you have someone who just fundamentally, completely fooled a person, like a perfect sociopath, like a malignant narcissist, or who just was totally like a normal person and then just did this 180. So that doesn't happen often. When it does, I think more often people don't want to see what's in front of them. Mm-hmm. So people will come in and they'll say to me, I can't believe he's being so petty and vindictive. And I'll say, well, what was he like during the marriage to people? And they're like, well, he was petty and vindictive. I'm like, wait, why would he be any different in the divorce? You're divorcing the person you were married to. So if you're married to a person who's reasonable, thoughtful, puts the kids first, concedes the possibility of their own error, that person, when you divorce them, is very often exactly that same person. So you're going to have, I don't do as many straightforward, reasonable divorces anymore, but that is the majority of divorces. The majority of divorces are people just saying, okay, one or both of us have decided this has to end, and let's try to do it in a way that preserves our co-parenting relationship. You don't hear about that. It's not interesting. I don't get invited to parties, but if I got invited to a party and somebody said, what do you do for a living? And I said, I'm a divorce lawyer. They go, oh my God, you must have such stories. But they don't want the story of, yeah, there were these two people and then they grew apart and ultimately they decided to divorce, but they've treated each other with respect. They don't want that. They want the one where I'm like, yeah, and then he took a chainsaw and he cut the bed in half and he said, you can have this half. And that's the story they want to hear. Those are the people that talk about their divorce for the next 15, 20 years. Someone actually took a chainsaw, cut the bed in half. Yeah. You'd be amazed how many things I've had people come in and tell me that they got cut in half, that their spouse left as a symbol of the broken home, a cut in half, whatever. There's so many things.
This is so funny in the sense that people do this a lot. People always want the juicy story. People want the story that is so sweet, the story that gets everybody excited or gets everybody scary. But what you notice about this is that a lot of times people want the bad story so much. Human beings by nature are drawn to negativity. That's why when something happens, something bad happens, the plane takes off and get crashed, or something negative happens, it spreads so far and wide, and people are talking about it for 2 weeks, 2 months. It's still a conversation. But if it's something good, nobody want to hear about it. People talk about it 1-2 days and it dies off. And that's a problem when it comes to dating, relationship, marriages today, because we have a lot of people who have fed so much on the negative aspects of marriage. when you ask them anything about marriage or relationship, their first go-to response it's something negative. It's something that you don't even want to hear because it has so shaped their mindset that now they'll tell you, don't get married. Oh, marriage is this, marriage is that, all negativity, because they have allowed themselves to feed on the negative part of marriage and they cannot even see the positive side. But the truth is that I believe internally, inside of my heart, that there are so many, like there are more successful marriages than failed marriages. But then people who are even in successful marriage don't want to talk about their successful marriage because the moment you come out and talk about your successful marriage, you get called a pick-me, you get called, what's the other one they call guys? I can't even remember. But you get called different names in this day and age because you are having a good marriage, because people have expectations that are unrealistic. But then people that are having a good marriage is just the many things, the day-to-day random things that they do for each other. How the man is sacrificing, how the woman is pouring into her husband, how the man is pouring into her wife, then the man is cooking, or the woman is bringing in finances into the home. They're just doing it. They're trying to do the best for each other. They are just going back and forth, giving to each other. Those things, they don't make sense to a lot of people. They believe it has to be this other way, and if it's not this other way, then it's a failure, and they're always looking for those negative things. So I just want to encourage you watching this today to understand that half of the news or half of the conversation or half of the things that you're consuming on negative marriages is that way. Your algorithm is filled with that. Your feed, your timeline is filled with those negative things because that's what you're reacting to. That's what you're leaving your comments on. That's what you're liking. That's what you're sharing. And then it keeps coming. And at some point you're like, oh, this is all there is to it. But the truth is that there are so many healthy marriages out there. So what I'm saying to you right now is to go back and filter your feed. Filter what you feed in, because what goes into your mind is what stays. You open your eye gates, you open your ear gates, you open all the gates, your heart gates, and these things fill your heart, and then you end up angry with marriage. Not necessarily because marriage is wrong or marriage is bad, but just because you have allowed those things that people say negatively about marriage to define your view about marriage. You can hear it. People are always looking for the juicy, bad story, the dramatic story, because it just makes them feel good for some weird reason. Anyway, this is the second part of this video. I have the third part coming, and I want you to go ahead and subscribe if you have not subscribed. Hit the notification button so that you'll be notified the next time I upload a new video. And don't forget to like this video if you have not liked it. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you learned from this video. Tell me what you're going to change in this. Like, after hearing this, what are you going to change? What are you going to do better in? Are you going to filter your feed? Are you going to do something about it? And do well to check the next video.